Hi, everybody. I'm Alice K. Ruckelhaus from SufferingWell, and I want to share with you just one more short video about the Ten Commandments and how it relates to this issue of statues in Catholic churches. And I just want to say this, you guys, it's a valid concern. Please understand that I am not saying that, gosh, you shouldn't wonder about this. This is part of ironing, sharpening iron. And it's really good to wonder and have a positive critical thinking when you look at these issues. However, as I've said in all the videos so far, and I'll keep saying it, make sure that you're asking questions and not just making assumptions and accusations. All right, so I'll see you in a second. One thing to remember is that whatever you're used to seeing seems right. And then when you see it different, you think, oh, that's wrong. And so it's kind of natural for Protestants, and again, this doesn't include Lutherans because they use the same commandments as the Catholics, but it's kind of natural when you're used to seeing the commandments written a certain way and then you see it a different way. It's natural to be critical of that and to think, oh, they left something out or something like that. But that's not the case. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that Protestants, by saying this, that Catholics have hidden a commandment, it almost sounds like you're saying that Catholics don't find the Ten Commandments to be as important as the Protestants do. I'm not sure. You may not think that, but that is something. And it's kind of interesting because I was having a discussion with David, who's my partner in this ministry, and sometime you're going to see him on the video. Right now I'm doing him, but he'll jump in here at some point. But we were having a discussion because he's a lifelong Catholic and I'm a new Catholic. And he was asking me, don't Protestants take the commandments, the Ten Commandments, seriously? Yeah, Protestants do. But Protestants and Catholics look at it differently. For example, Catholics memorize the Ten Commandments, and they know their Ten Commandments so well that when they confess a sin, they might say, I sinned against the sixth commandment. I sinned against the fourth commandment. Okay, people are saying that, or my priest in a homily says something about the fourth commandment, and I have to go, oh my goodness, which commandment is that? I know my Bible really well, but I never memorized, as a Protestant, I never memorized the Ten Commandments. If you gave me a list of sins, I could pick those out and I could say, oh, here are the Ten Commandments, these ones. Okay, these sins. And I think that most Protestants could probably come up with a list of the Ten Commandments, just probably not in order. But to Catholic, it's very, very important to know those commandments very specifically. And there's a reason for that we'll talk about in another video. But I just wanted to say that, to say, yes, the Ten Commandments are very, very important to Catholics. I would say, having been a Protestant and then a Catholic, that the Ten Commandments, those specific Ten Commandments, are probably more important to Catholics than they are to Protestants. So it's not that they're not important. The other thing, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying before about what you're familiar with, is here in the US, we traditionally had the Ten Commandments in a lot of places, such as in schools and in courthouses. And those have been taken out, unfortunately. The way that you saw them listed was the way that most Protestants list them. Again, not the Lutherans, but most Protestants list them. So does that make that the right way of having those commandments? Well, the thing to ask is, why was that particular order chosen? The thing to remember is that, and I'm reading this, roughly 48.9% of Americans are Protestants. 23% of Americans are Catholics. So you have a little bit more than twice as many Protestants in the US as you have Catholics. So that would explain why the Protestant version of the Ten Commandments is chosen when it's put up in a public place other than Catholic schools or Catholic churches or other Catholic buildings. So when it's just put up in a general place, it's going to be the Protestant version of it. And I don't think that the Catholics object to that because, like I read earlier in the catechism, Catholics it doesn't really matter. We don't have like, oh, this is doctrinally correct, this particular listing of it. It's just have the Ten Commandments. That's what's really important. And it is a little confusing for Catholics and Protestants because they do have them numbered differently, and Catholics will often refer to the commandments by number. So that's the difference in it. I hope that helps to explain things a little bit. If it confuses you more, please leave me questions below. If you have a question about some other aspect of this question of do Catholics worship idols, hold those questions until you've watched all the videos in this series and see if your question isn't answered. If you want to ask it as a question, go ahead. I welcome questions. What I don't welcome, but I know I will get some of this, I'll get this even from people who don't even watch the video, but is accusations. And you guys, accusations aren't helpful. What is the point when you're making an accusation? Okay, you're not finding out what's really going on. You're just making an accusation, and you don't want to hear what the truth is. You close your ears. Okay, ask a question to find out, what do Catholics really believe? Why do they do this? It seems to me like you're worshiping idols because this, and this, and this, but what is really happening? Be curious and try to find out. Okay, I love you all. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.